Time dependent perturbation theory. Here I would like to discuss a few things about time dependent perturbation theory. It is one of the best tools for explaining the more realistic problems through the quantum mechanical point of view. Before going to our main topic, I would like to say something about the perturbation theory. Actually, in perturbation theory, we are describing a complicated quantum mechanical system. We have already known some fundamental and ideal case of systems like hydrogen atom, square well potential, and such kind of models, and their mathematical solutions have already known. And in addition to this ideal case, our realistic case include many disturbance from in the form of electric field or some interactions. So for studying the more realistic cases, we need a complicated theories. So in perturbation theory, we are considering the small disturbances to this ideal system as a perturbing Hamiltonian, so or in the perturbing potential. So our well-known solutions can be modified according to this perturbation. Here, that is the main content, as the main thing we are doing in perturbation theory. Now we can just go through the time independent case. Here in time independent case, we are dealing with a ideal system or the system which is in a stationary state. There is no change in the system, and here the Hamiltonian is independent of time. Here actually the Hamiltonian indicates the total energy of the system. So as the time evolves, there is no change in the energy and other quantities of the system. So we say it is a stationary state, and it will continue and it will remain the same state as in the beginning. Here we are dealing the quantum mechanical system, which is closed quantum mechanical system. There is no other fluctuations or energy variations coming from outside. So it is a closed system. And here we are dealing with the time independent Schrodinger equation, H psi is equal to E psi, where psi is the state vector or the wave function which describes the state of the system, and H is the time independent Hamiltonian, and E is the eigenvalue representing the definite energy states of the. Now we can move to the time dependent case. Here we are dealing with a time dependent Hamiltonian. As I said earlier, the time dependent Hamiltonian can be represented as a linear combination of time independent Hamiltonian and a perturbing potential. In our perturbation theory, we are already told a small kind of perturbation in the form of applied electric field or some other interactions coming outside the system as a representing by time evolution or a time dependent perturbation. Here the V of t represents the external time dependent perturbing potential, and H0 is the time independent Hamiltonian. So our Hamiltonian of the system can be represented as a linear combination of time independent Hamiltonian and the perturbing potential. So here we are dealing with a state which is changing with respect to time. As a state changes with respect to time, we are dealing the Schrodinger equation of time dependent Schrodinger equation, IH cross dou psi by dou t is equal to H psi. Here the psi is the state catch which is changing with respect to time, and H is the Hamiltonian of the system. But in this our case, the Hamiltonian of the system is also time dependent. That is, the Hamiltonian always changes with time. Also the state cat is always changing with time. So we cannot use the Schrodinger picture here, because in Schrodinger picture we are dealing with a consideration of state cat. Only state cat is time dependent and varying with the time, or the operators are considered to be time independent. So we need an interaction picture to deal with our realistic case, because in interaction picture both the state get and the operator is varying with respect to time. So we have to use interaction picture to solve our problems. In interaction picture, we can represent the time evolution operator u t t0 as in the form I h0 t by t0 h cross. In quantum mechanics, we are studying the state of a system by using wave functions. Here, wave function represents the complete information of the system. It includes the complete information of the system. If we have to find the energy of the system, the corresponding energy operator, that is Hamiltonian, should be acting to this state of a system, then we obtain the energy. That's where we are studying the system. Here we are studying the time evolution of the system, that initially the system is in psi t0. At time t0, the psi t0 represents the state of a system at t0. When the time evolution operator acting on this, we obtain the system after time t. That's why we are writing in this form. Here psi t represents the state of a system at a particular time t, and psi t0 is the initial state of a system. The corresponding Schrodinger equation in interaction picture can be written as IH cross dou psi I by dou t is equal to V of t psi of I. Here V of t is the time dependent perturbation. Actually, in Schrodinger equation, here is the Hamiltonian, but Hamiltonian is the can be written as unperturbed Hamiltonian plus V of t. V of t is the time evolution operator. So that's why the V of t is remaining here. And now we are replacing this psi in interaction picture, the state vector in interaction picture, using this relation, and then the Schrodinger equation, the equation of motion of the state, can be written in this form. We are replacing the state by this form. That's why this equation is obtained. Or we can represent the operator in the operator form. We can write it in this form: IH cross dou u of t t0 by dt is equal to vi of t u t t0. In this equation, it's the equation of motion, or how the time evolution operator changes with respect to time when we are applying a perturbing potential. That means this equation. We are also know that an operator can be written in interaction picture in this form: u dagger, u inverse v u inverse u. In this form, we are the time dependent perturbing potential can be written in this form. This we already know that in interaction picture, the state vector can be written in this form, and the operator can be written in this form. Okay, now IH cross dou u by dou t is equal to V of I ui. This equation can be solved by integrating the left hand side. So initially the IH cross is going to the right side and integrating around t0 to t. So we obtain the time evolution operator u of I t t0 in this form, and the integration constant is unity, that is replaced here. So we'll obtain this like this. But in this solution, it also includes the time evolution operator. So we can replace it by changing the notation t to t1 and this form, and again this include in another integral. So we are modifying this integral equation by replacing this ui of t1 t0 again. That's why we are getting as a series function. This is called Dyson series. Here the first term indicates the zeroth order term, and the second term is the first order approximation. That's why we are using here, and this third term represents the second order approximation, and going on and so on. Here the Dyson series allows for the calculation of the state vector up to the desired order of the perturbation. If we are taking only zeroth order, we can take up to the first term only. If we are to measure more precisely, then we have to use the first order include. So we can use these two terms as our time evolution operator, and for more further accuracy we can use other terms. That say that we can use the state vector up to desired order of perturbation. Here in these graphs we can see the perturbation or the time evolution of our system from t0 to t using the representation of time evolution operator. This graph is known as Feynman graphs. We know the state of a system psi of t can be written as the form u of t t0 psi of t0, where psi of t0 is the initial state and psi of t is the final state. U of t t0 is the time evolution operator. We already see that the time evolution operator can be written as a series of integral equation 1 plus something like that. So that is series called Dyson series. The first term of the series represents zeroth order and the second term is the first order, and so on. So how the time evolution operator, zeroth order, first order and second order time evolution operator contribute to the state vector psi of t, that is represented using Feynman graphs. Here the first graph shows the psi of 0, that is zeroth order perturbation. So there is no perturbation, and initially at the t0 and finally also at the same state there is no change in the no perturbation in the wave function psi of t. So in second graph it shows a small perturbation at t1 due to the perturbing potential v of t1, that is represented by the second graph, is called the first order perturbation. In second order perturbation we can see the two perturbation at time t1 and t2 due to the potential v of t1 and v of t2, that's called the second order perturbation. Actually when initiate at t0 the system is at a particular level, where after time t1 due to the perturbation it changes its state to another state. Again at the second perturbation at t2 due to this perturbing potential v of t2 it changes the state again, that's why it's called second order perturbation. That's the meaning of that's why the time evolution operator could help us to study the time evolution of our system. Another important parameter is the transition probability, which is very important to calculate the time evolution of the system using our time dependent perturbation theory. The transition probability is the probability of transition from an initial unperturbed state to another unperturbed state. That the system is in ui unperturbed state, unperturbed eigenstate. Then when a potential v of t is applying, it changes its state by a time evolution. We can represent it use a time evolution, and finally it reaches to uf. What is the probability to be for this perturbation? What is the probability of transition from ui to uf? That is calculated from transition probability. The equation is like this: the expectation value of uf, ui, tt0, uf, ui. We know the Dyson series expansion of ui, so for here calculation we are using only the zeroth order and first order perturbation. Even though higher order perturbations are more sensitive, more rapidly interactive to our system, for our calculation simplicity and in our atomic and nuclear physics application, we are only using the first two terms of this time evolution operator, that is I plus 1 by h cross t0 to t va of t dt. So these replacing this time evolution operator here, and we obtain like this. So we know ui uf bracket of uf ui is delta fi. That means it will be having a value 1 if the ui and uf is same. That means it is when it is unperturbed, then the only this term is contributed. So for a perturbation, for a transition, this term will be 0 due to delta if is equal to 0, where I not equal to f. So this is the term we have remaining, and here we are replacing this Vi, the perturbing potential, as the form of time evolution. We know the perturbing potential V of t in interaction picture can be written in the form U dagger V U. So we are replacing this V like that, and also here we can replace U dagger V U, and U Ui become our time evolution e raised to I h0 t1 minus t2 by h cross times ui. So by rearrangement we can return in this form, where v fi t1 e raised to I omega fi t1 minus t0, where the omega fi came from this eigenvalue, the Hamiltonian h0 acting on ui and h0 also acting on uf. That's the eigenvalue ef and ei came from that. So ef minus ei by h cross is written as omega fi. This is the transition frequency between the initial and final levels. That's how the transition frequency is to transit from one initial state to final state. That's called also called Bohr frequency. So our equations came like this. So replacing this term by this term, and we can write the transition probability as 1 by h cross square t0 to t v fi of t1 e raised to I omega fi t1 minus t2 t1 minus t0 dt all square. This is the basic equation for the first order time dependent perturbation theory. Here we can see that how the transition is taking place between ui and uf. That is the main use of this time dependent perturbation theory. So now we are moving to a conclusion of our discussion. The main use of time dependent perturbation theory is to find the transition of the state. So we are answering this question: if a system is initially in an unperturbed eigenstate ui of h0, what is the probability that the system to be found in another unperturbed eigenstate uf after a time t? So we are actually finding the transition probability of the system. Initially the system is an ui, and after a perturbing potential applying to the system, it transit to another state uf. Then what is the probability for that transition? As we are finding using this time dependent perturbation theory. We also find the transition probability. So fundamentally we are initially we are writing the for how the transition probabilities is behaving, like the for constant perturbation and for harmonic perturbation what will be the effect. And using this result we are studying the interaction of atomic electrons with an external electromagnetic radiation. This is called the radiative transition of atom. When an external electromagnetic radiation is influenced by this atomic electron, what will be this transition? That's why we can study the atomic energy levels, and the fundamental studies of atoms can be studied using this time dependent perturbation theory and the transition probability. These are the references that I have used. First one is Quantum Mechanics by V.K. Thankappan. The section 8.4 of quantum mechanics, which is used for more diagrams, and the concept are followed using this textbook. And for further understanding I will also refer the quantum mechanics concept and application by Setley at the chapter 10.